How you doing, guys? I wanted to do a review today of the Berkey Water Filter because it's something that I've seen a lot of people talking about as an option when you want to filter water in your house, either from fluoride, just for general taste, or in a survival situation where the municipal water supply you may not be able to trust it. You've got access to some water, but you have to treat it in some way. So it's a gravity-fed filter. You just pour the water in. They're ceramic filters. They're based on the company's claims. They're extremely good and eliminating all harmful bacteria and organisms, and even filtering out food coloring out of water and stuff like that. I have the additional fluoride filters on this as well, because that's one of the things that I was worried about. Right now I'm just using tap water in it, and because I drink a lot of water, and the only other option you really have are pretty expensive for filtering fluoride, or you can buy, spring waters of certain kinds that don't have fluoride in it already. But then you're making a bunch of trips to the store, lugging jugs of water around, and that doesn't help you in a disaster or shit hit the fan situation where you want to be able to filter water that you can get outside, maybe collecting rainwater, things like that, and you want to filter it for health. Or even if there's something you don't trust the municipal supply, it's still coming out, but you want to be able to filter it just to make sure. So I'm going to go over a few of the likes and dislikes I have for this particular unit, which is a Travel Berkey. I know that some of the points may not, good or bad, may not apply to all their units, so take it with a grain of salt. This is just for informational purposes and what I've found. So first I'm going to start off with the bad news, I guess, if you can even call it that. The things that I dislike about it. Some of them were just going to be my opinion, so take that as you will. First of all, the only thing I had when I got it, you have to do some assembly yourself, which isn't too bad. I didn't have any difficulty doing the things. The only problem is you have this nagging feeling of, okay, did I do this right? Like back flushing the filters and things like that. Did it all according to the instructions. Didn't have any problems doing any of it, but you always got that lingering feeling like, okay, I did that. Did I do it right? Not a big deal, but that may just be me. Maybe I'm just retarded and don't trust my own work. Other than that, the assembly went pretty well. The only thing that I would mention is that the fluoride filters on the bottom here, you screw them up onto a threaded fitting that sticks down through, and you're only supposed to fit 8 rotations because the fitting may puncture through a membrane that's in the filter. And even after the 8 rotations, they feel kind of loose. So I didn't know if that was the good or not. I would have liked to see a spacer maybe that you could put up against the fitting, so you can tighten it down without it going more than 8 rotations up, or space them appropriately. They're making the thing, they can make it so that it is already spaced right instead of having me worry about it. But that's minor thing. It seems to be working fine as it is. The last criticism I'll have is on this particular model, right around the spigot here, I originally had a little leakage, and they say in the instructions to hand tighten down. There's 2 rubber bushings, like washers, one on either side. If I tightened not enough, it would seem to drip out a little bit. If I tightened even harder, it would deform the washer and then not make a correct seal. So you can probably find that perfect boundary after messing with it. Maybe some of the units will work a little better than others, but I had a little trouble with it. I ended up putting a little sealant around the threads to just stop it, and that fixed the problem completely. Another issue that I had, which is mainly, I think, just a user error, I didn't really understand it, was I also had some leakage around this area when the bottom would be full and I'd fill up the top area completely as well. So this just rests in there, so that when the water level was up here, there would be pressure pushing it out, and there would be some leakage here, which I didn't think about. So you should at least drain the bottom before filling up the top all the way again. Now, a couple things that are just personal opinions from me about this particular Berkey model is I think I got one that was a little too small. They mention for me personally, they mention on the website that the Travel Berkey is made for 1 to 2 people. So I was like, okay, 1 to 2 people. We do drink a lot of water here. We're probably going through at least 1 gallon a day, which is fine. It filters. The filter speed is fine. It filters much more than that. You can filter many gallons a day. The problem is with the capacity of this tank is that if you're drinking more than 1 gallon a day or 1 gallon a day, is that you're having to fill this up and empty it quite a bit. And while it does it quickly enough, it filters quickly enough, you're spending a lot of time filling and emptying. And the spigot here, the speed is slower than I would like, simply because it is gravity fed, so that once the water level gets to about here, it's, you know, halfway down or lower, it really slows down coming out. So that's just a personal preference. If I had to do over, I would get the much bigger one, just so that I would have a faster flow rate and be able to store more in the tank. Because even if it had a 5-gallon tank, that's probably only going to last 3 days at my house. And you don't want to let it sit there more than 3 days, because it is perfectly filtered, so you could have stuff growing in it if it just sits there. You know, pure water, no chlorine or anything like that, or, you know, that could be a problem. So you want to find out exactly how much water you're really using, but just keep that in mind. And okay, now on to the good things about it. Obviously, the I don't think the price is either good or bad. I think it's right. You know, it's a fair price based on what you're getting out of it. In terms of fluoride filtering things, I think it's actually a very good price. It's one of the cheapest ones I found that covers all the bases in terms of what I was looking for in a filter. And the bigger ones, I paid about $300 including for this, the whole set, including 2 sets of fluoride filters, 2 sets of the regular filters, and then the actual unit itself here. And so price was fine. Assembly was simple enough. Didn't have any problems with that, so that's a good thing. I really, really like the way it looks. It's really sleek. Maybe I've just got a primitive brain, but I'm a big fan of shiny stuff. So the stainless steel look right here, the high gloss, I like that. I'm pretty stoked about that. So that's a plus for me. The ease of use is incredible. That's a big plus. You just literally just fill up the top. Bam, your water's ready pretty quickly. Filtering speed, very happy with that. You don't have to let it sit there for hours and hours and hours waiting for the water to slowly drip out the bottom. It's pretty quick with the filtering, so I'm definitely pleased about that. If obviously there's no way for me to confirm their claims on how pure this water is coming out, but I'm happy with the claims. You know, if it does everything it's supposed to do, then that's a plus. The taste of the water is excellent. There's no strange taste or anything like that. It tastes good, actually better than tap water, just as good as, you know, Zephyr Hills or anything else you might get out of the, it definitely has a clean taste to it. Nothing wrong there. So overall, I'm very happy with the purchase. I think it's a great thing to have on hand. The good thing about this is the filters last so long, and it does the fluoride and the thing that I'm just using it now. This isn't something that I'm storing away for if a disaster happens. I'm using this right now, and I will continue to use it if a disaster happens. And the filters last an incredibly long time. I think the ceramic filters last 3,000 gallons, you know, which even at 2 or 3 gallons a day is several years. And the fluoride filters last about 1,500 gallons, which is still plenty of time. So obviously, if you were using natural water sources like rain or streams, puddles, whatever collected outside, you wouldn't have to worry about fluoride anyway. That's just when I'm using the municipal water for daily drinking right now. But I think it's a great idea to have one of these. I would recommend this, and maybe some of these issues. I know there's a lot of people, Berkey people, that are out there trolling the sites and the forums and answer questions like that. So maybe there's something I did wrong with the spigot here, or maybe that's just I just didn't spend enough time trying to find the sweet spot. But it was an easy fix, this little sealant there. So not a big deal. But overall, I really enjoy it, like the taste, like the look, and I like having this. It really gives you a little bit of peace of mind knowing that you have this available, because water is really hard to store a large amount of it. You know, like you really can't effectively store a year's or even 6 months worth of water when you're talking about drinking a gallon a day per person, which I actually drink that much. I'm not just using that much. That doesn't even count, you know, dishes, clothing, or anything else you might use water for, you know, animals. That is just me. Just drinking is going to be a solid gallon a day at least. That's not even counting if I'm out there busting my ass chopping wood, planting gardens. It'd probably be much more than that. So you definitely want to have that option available. Around here where I live, there's plenty of water sources. There's plenty of rain, groundwater, shallow, but you got to have a way to filter it. So I'm really happy about that. Looks like this video is running a little long. I don't always get let the time get away from me, but that's all I got to say about that. If you guys have any questions, let me know. And I recommend the Berkey filter, and for anyone who wants the same things as I do out of a water filter. So rate, comment, and subscribe, and talk to you guys later. Bye.